Last week, I went to my friend's house and we hung out, and I had a really genuinely great time just chit chatting and being silly and just talking about just life and stuff with my friend. And we made a chocolate Guinness cake for St. Patty's Day, and we went and got pizza, like one of her favorite pizza restaurants. Like, it was just a really nice time that I had. It was just a really grand time. And I got home and I felt so good. I was like, wow, you were like truly yourself. It was really easy for you to be yourself, and that's okay. And you don't feel bad right now. You weren't yourself, and then she like made a weird face or made a comment about why are you acting that way. It was nice. I was myself, and it was nice. I've always been afraid to be myself around people because when I was younger, and I cannot avoid talking about this even though it can be uncomfortable sometimes. When I was younger, as a little Black girl in the South, people, whether it was like an authority figure, it was less common with an authority figure, but like my friends, the other people around me, maybe I shouldn't call them friends, were very open and verbal about how anything, like the way I did things was wrong. Who I was as a person was too much or too little. It was never like, she just is who she is. It was always like, why do you do that? Why do you like that? Why do you talk like that? Why are you you and not who I'm told you were supposed to be? Think of it that way. And so I felt like people my whole life were always trying to push me into this stereotype of like a Black woman. And that was really hard. And stressful. People like always antagonizing me to get me to act angry or to prove that I wasn't like nice and kind or shit like that, or whatever things for people have been. I honestly don't think I want to know. It would be heartbreaking because I'm a softie, to be honest. But it was just very hard to protect myself from the persecution of like doing things and then being judged or outcasted or antagonized. I just learned to always check my behavior, what I was doing, and to always be aware of how every person was like communicating, acting, body language, facial expressions to what I was saying so that I could adjust to avoid them like calling me out or like, I also was like pretty chubby growing up. And so I wasn't the kind of kid that like made a joke about it before someone else. Like I was very insecure about it. And people would just pick it out. Like people would just bring it up in conversation out of nowhere, or like my bust size and like my body in general. Like I just always tried to be as exactly what I thought the person in front of me wanted based off of their like immediate reactions as possible. And that was so exhausting. And I would always walk away from social situations, being like, well, what the fuck was that? Because then I would catch something and be like, what the hell was that? Not that I didn't enjoy that person, but like, it was always just like, that was super uncomfortable. Like, not only was I uncomfortable, because there were some situations where I would be checking myself constantly and the person would be reacting fine. And they were just like, it was awesome, but it was always just like, you have that icky feeling after. But there were also times where like, it was obvious that the other person was uncomfortable. And that's what I would be like, what the hell was that? I was uncomfortable and you were uncomfortable? And then it would just be confusing. And then I would be stuck there. I would replay it all. And it would get so tiring and exhausting. And like, it just took up so much of my energy. And it took me out of the present. It was just this annoying loop of memories, of very robust memory, I think. And I'm not like that anymore. I made the intention in January, like when we were like dead in winter, to change, to approach this change that I like prayed for. And I'm on the other side of it now, and my Saturn return is starting. That's kind of the other thing I want to talk about. But like now being present and being at peace with things and who I am and feeling comfortable with who I am, and then sharing that with people and not being worried about whether they like it or not, or just being in the moment with them, like that just feels so amazing to have enjoyed time with someone and not been thinking about it so much. With all of that, with diving into this change that I prayed for and like working on presence so that I can experience and learn from it. My Saturn return coming up, if we're not spiritual, a Saturn return pretty much is just the magical, mystical way to explain when you biologically mature as a human. You just start going through all these shifts and you have to decide if you're going to follow your dreams or if you're going to stay on the path that, you know, someone else told you that you should want to be on. And it's supposed to happen around 27 and 28. And I've already been through 27. That was rough. Mine's going to start at like in 7 days. And kind of with this feeling of presence, and being able to kind of be in touch with my intuition. That's another thing. I feel crazy being so in touch with my intuition and like having thoughts that make sense and then it matching and like my faith and my divination tools. I feel like I want to document that. I feel like I want to document my Saturn return, if not to give people a heads up or just to share my thoughts, what I think about things I'm realizing, you know, an opinion, a think piece, I guess. I don't know. If not just to share my thoughts, to do that, to help somebody or just to entertain, whatever. Just when I get on the other side of it, because I know I'm going to get on the other side of it. I don't have a choice, right? I have to do it. I don't know what it is, but I know I'm going to have to do it. Because it's just life. It's just living life. To have something to look back on. Because I'm present now and I'm going to have the intention of really being in the moments that I'm going to experience in the future. Documenting that so that when I finally get to that place that I know exists, that I've dreamed about my whole life, I can look back on how beautiful the journey was. And because I was present in it and enjoyed it, I'll always be able to relive that. And maybe that's selfish, but I just think to live a life at all, to live a life and record it and document it and share it, and it just be something that happened on Earth. Even that is significant enough when you think about how incredible it is to exist in this form at all. Just because I have the ability to do it, if anything. And so I'm going to. Yeah, I have a job. Yeah, I have like nieces and nephews and like family, but I don't really have anything else to do. So why not dedicate time to not curating a life, but living a life and just documenting it. Even if for a little bit, there's nothing going on. Even if for a little bit, it's just my opinion. I feel like the way that I think and the way that I am is very different than it was when I was like 27 or any other age. And I like who I've become. I didn't used to want to share that with the world, and now I do. So I'm going to. On the internet for everyone to see, and that's scary, but whatever. There are scarier things to deal with than this. But I know that it's starting and something is coming. It's coming and I have to address it. So my first episode of it, I'm going to be addressing it, addressing you. That'll make sense when you see it, but I just wanted to share that with you. I feel so present and I feel so good. I'm proclaiming that. That's something I worked so hard for and prayed so hard for when I was a little girl, to just be happy and to feel good when I was a teenager. And I am. And I know good things are coming. I know what I've dreamed for is coming. I prayed for it. And I'm going to show myself that.